Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. This is Judy Tuttle from Tuttle Up Stamping. I'm an independent Stamping Up demonstrator from Midland, Texas. Thanks for joining me today. I am on day 3 of this week's online card class to go, and it shouldn't say a card class because today is our 3D project of the week, and it is definitely not a card. But I do want to show you the cards that I have made over the last 3 days. I will do that in just a moment. First of all, let me go through a few things that I do every time. First of all, there's a new rewards program. Hip hip hooray! It started yesterday. The site was down for a little bit. You need an online account. So when you go onto the Stampin' Up account, hi Lori Kemp, thanks for joining me today. When you go to the online account, you have to set up a customer account, okay? Just like you do for any website. If you just want to check out as a guest, you're not going to get rewards. The rewards are on every order you place that is $20 or more, and they bank up until you want them, okay? So it's pretty awesome. We're all very excited about it. You don't have to put in a $150 order anymore to get those rewards. You can get them on any order of $20 or more. You guys, the best way to log in with me as your demonstrator, if you want an online card class to go, or you want to make a purchase just because you love me, is to go directly to my TuttleUpShop.com. When you use TuttleUpShop.com right here, it should take you directly to me in the online store, okay? You shouldn't have to search for a demonstrator or anything. This is my personal Stampin' Up account. So if you type in TuttleUpShop.com, you should be automatically connected with me. You should see my little picture in the upper left-hand corner, and it should say you are shopping with Judy Tuttle. Okay, all right. I've got lots of great events coming up. I have the May Craft Trio, which is 3 classes, all including product and the paper, the embellishments, the ribbons you need, all of that. Deadline for that is coming up in 5 days on April 21st. This is a virtual class, meaning you will get the kit in the mail or at my doorstep, and you will follow me and Jen as we do YouTube videos to show you how to create your projects, okay? And you'll also get a paper written PDF as well, okay? So lots of value in these classes. I'll be sure to put the link to those up in my description after this video is over. Florals in Bloom is my very first catalog launch class on May the 9th. The catalog goes live, the new catalog, on May the 6th. So this is a class to show you all the new ink colors and the terrific paper and embellishments that are all a part of this suite. It's my favorite suite out of the new catalog. So I wanted to start off with that. The link to this class in person on May 9th, or you can get it to go with the PDF of the product and all the stuff. The only thing you won't have is the ink color inks, so you might want to purchase those as part of that class. All right? Okay, for some reason, my bangs are like going in my face. I don't know why. Girl problems, right? Okay, so here we go. I want to show you the cards that we have made so far using the Round We Go bundle. I should have one more here. Let's see. Here it is. So the class this week, all week long, we have been using the Round We Go bundle, which includes the die set, which makes all the fun rosette pendant pendant embellishments and dies. Okay, I've used those with this stamp set all week. I've also used the white sheer ribbon with the silver trim on it. I have also used on all the projects the Full of Life Designer Series paper, which is carrying over. The paper's $12.50, and I've used this so much, I think I'm on my fourth and fifth packages here. It's great, great paper. And today I'm also including this little tiniest of the tiny banners from the Stylish Shape dies, okay? And you will need some kind of corner rounder. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put this away. I've pulled out the stamps that I need. Here are the projects we did this week. This was our fun fold card from yesterday. Pretty awesome. But then you open it, look at that, and it stands up. It's a pretty amazing fun fold card. I love that. We also made these others. This is a second fun fold that we made. On Monday. Here's one with those daisies. I just love that. That was on Monday as well. And then this one uses a lot of those flat rosette dies and stamps with all the confetti around. I love this. Happiest birthday with that inside. So those are our cards so far this week. Today we are going to create this cute little box, and what I love about it is that it's gusseted. It's very well made. I found this on Pinterest, and they use DSP for the box, but instead I am using our new pumpkin pie two-toned cardstock. It's thinner than regular cardstock, but thicker than designer series paper. And this belly band pops off like this on the side, and it opens like this with a little flap. Lots of stuff that you can put inside that box. It's a pretty roomy box in there. So I'm going to show you how I did this, give you some measurements and all of that. So let me slide this back on. And I think today we're going to do a little more stamping on the box. We'll see how that looks. Maybe we'll end up liking the plainer one the most. Okay, so I have this two-toned paper pumpkin, a pumpkin pie cardstock, and you can see the two-tone there, right? You can see that one side is a little lighter than the other side. This is the core of this is white, okay? So you can kind of see one side's lighter, one side's darker. I wanted the darker side on the outside, okay? And then how you're going to cut and score this. This is half a sheet of a 12 by 12 piece of pumpkin pie two-toned cardstock, okay? And you're going to score the long side. If you turn it this way, I scored it at 4.5, 5 3/4, 10, and 11.5. Okay, I'll say that again. 4.5, 5 3/4, 10, and 11.5. Okay, and then I rotated it, and I scored the short side at 1.5, 4.5, and 4 3/4. All right, I'll put those measurements right here so you can kind of see them. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to start doing some cutting. So I scored this whole box to the inside. I folded, bone folded, everything so that it all will kind of curl the same direction. Okay, now on this edge right here, this little 1/2 inch edge right here, I'm going to take my paper trimmers, my paper snippers, and I'm just going to cut out this top rectangular part right here, and I'm going to cut out the bottom right here. So on this 1/2 inch edge, all you want is that little tab right there at the 1/2 inch side. Okay, so we just want that little tab right there. That's all we want on that. Okay, now the top is the side that has these two little score lines right here. Okay, so we're going to focus on the bottom. And now on the bottom, all we're going to do is snip up to the score line. If you guys have ever made box, this is pretty routine that you take the tabs for the bottom of the box and just snip them up to the score line. Okay, all right, like that. And I like to take a little section out of them, you guys know, so that it all folds in a little bit better. I might even do that right here. Take a little bit off that corner. All right, now for the top of the box, I'm gonna cut everything out up here. So let me grab my pen. You guys have told me you like when I do this. So you can see that there is a wider section and then there's a tiny little 1/2 inch section here. I'm gonna cut out all of this until you get to that very last wider section. So this whole bit right here is going to get removed. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my snips. I'm going to cut it all the way down here to the very end, to that wider section. And that wider section is going to be the flap that folds over the top of the box. Okay, there we go. So it's going to look like this when you're done cutting everything out. Okay, now this top flap right here, I'm going to take a paper corner rounder. We don't sell this one anymore, but I know if any of you are crafters worth your weight in gold, you have a corner rounder somewhere in your stash like I did. And let me make sure I've got this all. There we go. That wasn't very good. Let's try that again. There we go. And I'm just rounding those corners. That's just going to give me a nice little look to the top of my box. Okay. Now, what I thought might be fun for this box is to take our confetti stamp and our pumpkin pie ink and just stamp a little confetti on the front of this box. Okay, we'll see if we like it. We might not, but I bet the person who gets it is going to like it either way. I'm going to turn this a little bit this way. There we go. So it just is going to peek out a little bit between those belly bands that I'm going to put on the front. Hi, GN, how are you? And then on my flap fold right here, the flap that's going to fold over to the front, I'm going to add a little bit of confetti to the top of that as well, right like that. Okay, now let's put our box together. This 1/2 inch tab that's right here on the side, I'm going to fold to the inside and I'm going to add a little strip of tear and tape right on that little 1/2 inch edge. Okay, so here we go. I might put another little piece up there at the top just to be sure it will hold it well. So let me take this piece off. I'm going to add another little piece up here at the top. I just want to make sure I get a really good adhesion on that tab right there, because that's kind of what holds the whole box together, right? Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's my tearing tape on the tab. It's covering end to end. All right, now here's the fun part. I'm going to fold this in, just the tab right here, and then I'm going to just fold the box in half so that this edge matches the score on the side of the box right there. This far edge is just going to fold over, match up, press it down, grab my bone folder, get a nice adhesion there, And there you go. That creates the box, okay? Now, this is the front of my box, so I want this flap to go down last. I want this flap on the back to go down before the front flap. And I want my side flaps to go in. So I'm going to take my side flaps, fold them in. I'm going to take my back, fold it down. And then my front is going to just fold right over there. I don't know why that's not. I'm just going to cut a little bit off this lip. But I didn't have to do this on my other one. So I don't know why it's doing this now. But we'll just take care of that. There we go. Okay. Back folds in, front folds over, okay? So I'm gonna put tear and tape right here on this flap right here and adhere it all together. Yeah, you guys are going to love this box when it's done. It is super cute and pretty easy to put together. Thanks for the love you're sending me with the hearts. That's always makes me happy. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to press that down really well because we want the bottom of this box to stay together. I'm not putting anything heavy, but I think you probably could put like some hand sanitizer or some things that are a little bit heavier in here, and it would hold together just fine because it's not as heavy as cardstock, but it's pretty stable. There we go. So there's my tear and tape, and I'm just going to fold this box over, and we have our little box right there. Cute, right? Okay, I'm going to grab my bone folder and make sure everything gets adhered really well there on the inside. Now, these side tabs, I'm just going to push in like that and create a gusseted side on my box. And then this is going to fold over right like that and hold it all together. Isn't that cute? Isn't that a cute little box? I love that. Okay, so I'm just going to set that aside for just a second. I'm going to grab my DSP. Okay, so what I did, and maybe I'll just show you with another piece just to show you what I did. I took 2 pieces of 6x6 of the Full of Life paper. My belly band needs to be about 8.5 inches long, so one sheet isn't long enough. So what I did is I laid my DSP on my grid paper. I added a little bit of adhesive on the edge of one of them right here. This piece actually would be really pretty on this box too because it has that pumpkin pie. And then I just overlapped it by 1/2 inch. So I just used my grid lines to kind of help me keep it straight here. There we go. So do you see how it's overlapped 1/2 inch right here? And it's overlapped by 1/2 inch right here. I just press that in really well together. And then we could use this as a belly band. No one would ever notice that, that seam. Okay. So this one worked really well with the vertical stripes because really when you overlap it, you don't see those seams at all. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece that is now, I cut 2 inches off of it before, so it's 4 by about 11.5, and I'm going to cut it down to 2 inches. Okay, I can use that one on my next, by about... You only need about 8.5 or 9 inches. So just to be safe, I'm going to cut it down to 9. Right here. My might even end up cutting a little bit more off. So I cut most of that berry burst off there, okay? So I'm going to take my belly band. I'm going to wrap it around my box. That very loosely. You don't need it to be super tight. Okay, and I'm going to pull it a little bit more. Just loosely kind of fitting it in. And it's going to all go like that. But you know what? I'm going to move it down a little bit more because I want my seam to be covered by my rosette that I'm going to put on the front. So let's go like this. I'm just going to kind of eyeball where it needs to be adhered right here. Okay. And I'm going to add some Seal Plus right here to the bottom edge of that belly band. And I'm going to press this into that about right there. And then I can put my belly band on my box. Of course, I'd want to fill it. So let's say what I have some of these awesome gummy rainbows that I found on Amazon. I used them for a project a few weeks ago. And you know what else would fit in here? A Kit Kat bar would fit in here. Definitely a gift card, right? But it's a pretty hefty box there. It's going to hold quite a bit of things. Okay, so there we go. Fold that over. I've got my little gummies in there. Good and secure. Now my belly band is just going to hold all of that together. There we go, right like that. Now, for the front of my box, I have pre-cut some things here. I have a scalloped circle, which is one of the dies that comes in that set. I cut a stylish shape circle that is, let's see, about 1 3/4 in diameter. I cut 2 of those kind of flower rosettes in lemon lime twist. This is lemon lime twist as well. And I cut a banner from the stylish shape in basic white. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is with this circle right here, I'm going to use this die that cuts out the little holes. And someone asked me, I think it was Sue, asked me, how do I sandwich if I want to use a dryer sheet to catch those circles? So I'm going to show you here what I do. I take my plate with one plastic plate on top. I put down my fabric softener sheet. I just add the paper next with the die on top, okay? And I can still use a little bit of Post-it note tape to hold that if I need to. So let me grab a piece. There we go. And then put the plate on top. So the fabric softener sheet goes underneath everything else. And I'm going to show you what happens when I run this through. This is really great when you have a die that has lots of little pieces in it. It's like magic. Okay, so I don't know who discovered that a fabric sheet would do this, but it's pretty genius. Okay, so now when I pull this up, look, the fabric sheet catches all those little dots from that die. Okay, and when I pull this off, sometimes there's 1 or 2 left, but in this case, there isn't. They're all out automatically, stuck to the dryer sheet. Okay, have you guys ever tried that before out there? It's a nice little trick, I think. Okay, so that is done. I'm going to grab my yellow scallop piece that I just showed you. I just pad here. I don't know how that happens. Is it on the back of my... Yep, it was on the back of my plate from when Jeez Louise. Okay, so I'm going to grab this stamp from the Round We Go stamp set. I'm going to grab my Daffodil Delight ink pad, and I'm going to stamp right in the center of that. Awesome. I'm going to take this piece and pop it up in the center there. Okay, it's going to go right here in the center. I've got my little daisy flower floret. It's going to go in the center of that circle. So cute, right? Look at that. So fun. And then this whole thing is going to get popped up onto my belly band. I might use 4 dimensionals on this, but you kind of want to put them in the center because you don't want it to stick to the outside edge of this box. So you could even put them just on the belly band if you wanted to. And just that's going to go right like that on the front of our box, okay? All right. There we go, super cute. And the last thing, not the last, second to the last thing, is to stamp our sentiment. And all I wanted on my hip hip hooray is just hooray. That's all I'm caring about right there. So I'm going to grab a piece of Post-it note. I'm going to cover up hip hip, okay, so that all that's going to get stamped is the hooray. Okay, make sure I get that really nice and covered right there. I'm going to grab my Memento Black here that I put on an uninked ink pad, and I'm just going to lightly stamp hooray, 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 and then I can pull my Post-it note off, and the only thing that's stamped is the hooray on there. So I'm taking this smallest stylish shape die, and inside it I'm going to stamp hooray. It's kind of hard to see, so I hope I get it straight. I cut some extra ones. Yeah, it's good. All right, hooray. This hooray is going to get attached right to the front of our little rosette right there. Isn't that cute? Okay, so I'm going to grab some dimensionals for that. I have 2 extras for my classes to go. So, and you know what? I'm just going to use some flat glue on this because it's going to attach to that center of that rosette right there. Hooray! Cute, huh? All right, and then I pulled out my Sunny Days dots here because I really liked these pumpkin colored ones. And I'm going to attach, you could use the ones we've been using, the tinsel gems as well, or any gems you want. Even the plain rhinestone gems would be cute on this, right? And then one last thing to do, this box really needed a bow. So I'm going to grab my ribbon. I'm going to tie a single bow with my hands without any apparatuses whatsoever. Hi, Christina. I've missed you. I'm glad you're here. So to tie a single bow, you're just going to make a loop like this. I hold it with my 2 fingers and the small end is in the front. okay? And then you're going to take the back end, you're going to wrap it around, and then push a loop into that little hole there. Okay, so we have, let me do it more flat here. Wrap it around like that, and then push a loop into that hole where your thumb was. And you might get loops that are a little long at first, but you can adjust them, and you just pull, and you have a perfect single bow made with your hands and not any gadgets. You can do it. I believe in you. How are you guys out there with tying bows? I'm very proud. I call myself a bow expert. But my customers are always like, just tie my bow for me. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I'm like, no, you need to learn how to do it yourself. Depends on my mood. So I've got my bow here. I'm going to, I hear ya. I know. Mornings can get crazy for sure. I've actually been up since 4:15. I work a little bit at the cycle bar where I exercise as the welcome person at the front desk. And they needed me this morning, so I've been up very early. How cute is that with that bow on the bottom? Isn't that adorable? I just love it. I just tucked it right underneath that rosette right there. And there's our cute little box for today. Now tell me, which way do you like it best? Or do you think that adding the stamps on the front makes a big difference? Or do you think it is just as pretty plain? Which one do you like the best? Honestly, I think I like the plain one better. It looks more, less busy, right? So anyway, there you go. There's our 3D project of the week. Next week, I will not be having an online class to go. I'm going to visit my son in Iowa, but if you're part of my email list, I've got an email special for you for next week. But if you want this class to go, to get one of each of these projects and a recipe card sent to you in the mail, I need your order by Saturday of $50 or more in my online. Oh, you guys like the stamped one more. Interesting. I think they're both cute. This is just a little busier, right? So both cute. You can get a project packet to make all of these projects by placing a $50 order in my online store. So let me know if I can help you with that. I'd love to get that in the mail to you. And if you're part of my email list, we will have a special coming up next week, an Iowa ordering special. I'm not in Iowa, but my son is, and that is why I'm leaving. He's getting his master's in school administration and asked us to come be a part of that celebration. So, thanks. I'm so excited. I haven't seen him and his wife since Christmas, and we're excited to be able to go visit them in Iowa City, Iowa next week. So, hey, God bless everybody. Thank you for your likes and your loves and all the joy you bring to me every day. And I hope you have a blessed Easter weekend. And I will see you in about a week and a half. All right? We'll be closer to that new catalog launching then. So, bye-bye. Take care, and I will see you all soon.